even just from some of the opening shots of Fallout Season 2, some pretty big reveals were made. We could see an airship that closely resembles the Brotherhood of Steel airship we see in Season 1 approaching off the coast of Santa Monica. This is right where Vault 33's entrance is located, but this scene appears to be pre-war, which is a really big reveal. The Brotherhood of Steel as a whole is a post-war faction, and thus far in Fallout lore, these airships have mostly been post-war also. This is a potential retcon where the Prydwen, their airship in Fallout 4, and the Cassawinanan, their airship in the show from Season 1, that might also be a Prydwen, we never really got an explanation as to how a second airship popped up. But either way, this seemingly is going to be a retcon to say the airship is based off a pre-war model, because seemingly this is some kind of civilian variant. You'll notice that entire lower level where vertibirds are docked is missing from this one, and in general it almost looks like the canopies are closed up top. It almost seems like this might be some kind of civilian transport like a Zeppelin. Maybe the Brotherhood of Steel found the schematics or just some of the tech later on and then upgraded it for their own use. That's pretty on theme for this faction, and this will likely come into play as Season 2 goes on. From some of the trailers, we could see a Brotherhood civil war is breaking out, and very interesting, in past interviews we've heard mentions of new Brotherhood factions.
Max has had this idea of what the Brotherhood is that's quite limited, and is now being exposed to the idea that it's not just his little chapter, called the Knights of San Fernando, that is the extent of what that organization is. There are other chapters with other interpretations of what the Brotherhood should stand for, the Codex, and all these sorts of things. And then, of course, you have the Commonwealth out there somewhere as well. So
the Knights of San Fernando are mentioned. These are the LA Knights that we see throughout Season 1, but we're only just now learning their names, suggesting that other factions will pop up, and from some of the other Season 2 trailers, we also see a new Brotherhood flag. You have to imagine as new characters come in and this civil war breaks out, we'll get a deeper dive into this new West Coast Brotherhood lore. But perhaps the largest reveal of the episode, there are two houses now? Something is going on with Mr. House, where even in pre-war, he was seemingly using a body double or something. There are a couple of theories going here. The body double theory is the main one. That is that this is the real Mr. House. We could see him in the pre-war opening of Season 2, but also post-war on the screen interacting with the Ghoul. Conversely, the Mr. House from Season 1 is the body double, the fake Mr. House. This is the person that meets with others and appears publicly for security reasons. We even see him on this billboard in some of the leaked set photos. The scene where a shadowy figure calls down makes a lot more sense now. Presumably, the real Mr. House was overwatching from above and is calling down to say something. And all of this does kind of make sense. Mr. House is based off the real-world Howard Hughes, this being a hugely influential and very wealthy figure that was critical in aerospace development as well as the establishment of casinos in Las Vegas. Howard Hughes used body doubles in real life, so it's likely they're just following the same plotline for the TV show, and honestly, I think it's a pretty fun one. And the even wilder theory is that this is actually Anthony House. Mr. House that you know and love is actually named Robert House, but he does have a half-brother with Anthony House. The company, H&H Tools, mentioned towards the start of the episode,
So you must use the H&H nail gun. It's a marvelous machine.
Was their company, House & House Tools. Anthony House ended up seizing control of the company from Robert House because he viewed him as illegitimate. They were half-brothers, with Robert House and Anthony House only sharing the same father. So the Mr. House from the games was kind of viewed as an outsider and quite literally cut out of the company. Or at least, that was all the lore you could find in Fallout New Vegas. But now many fans are wondering if this extended talk about H&H Tools wasn't just a reference, but instead a clue as to who the real identity of this body double could be. Our first look at Lucy and the Ghoul is in Novac. We can see this location has now been taken over by the Great Khans, where the people of Novac we saw in Fallout New Vegas are long gone. And this does kind of make sense, and it could even be considered our own fault. In Fallout New Vegas, Manny Vargas is a former Great Khan. On his body in game, you could even find a note mentioning how he let a group of Great Khans stay in Novac recently after they successfully stole a package. That package is the platinum chip, and the person they stole it off of is the courier. Because, yeah, that group of Great Khans was traveling with Benny, and they're the group that attacks us at the start of the game. So considering some Great Khans stay in Vegas right at the start of Fallout New Vegas, It just makes sense to me that they could have come back later on to just steal the entire town, especially after Boone presumably leaves to come travel with the courier. You can see the Ghoul healing himself after the Novac fight with a fusion core, and this actually makes a lot of sense with the new Ghoul lore from Fallout 76. In that game, after turning into a ghoul, radiation now heals you. Eventually, if you get enough of it, it'll give you a full second health bar known as glow. Taking damage will now drain that second health bar, but gaining more radiation will restore it rapidly, such as radiation from this leaking fusion core. And it seems like this is largely what the show's using to explain the Ghoul's actions. It's not that he's completely invulnerable, he's just really tanky. And episode 1 may have given us a clue as to how Cooper Howard became the Ghoul in the first place. After finding out his wife's considering dropping some bombs, Cooper Howard takes his daughter and starts to flee. During this journey, his daughter asks where they're going, and he responds Bakersfield. Bakersfield in Fallout lore is home to Vault 12. Vault 12's door didn't fully close. This was intended basically to study the effects of radiation on the Vault population, which in the end mostly turned into ghouls before many of them ended up fleeing the Vault. That perfectly explains what happened to Cooper Howard. He goes into the Vault at Vault 12 right as the bombs do drop, but then over time turns into a ghoul and pretty early on makes his way back out into the wasteland, which gives him plenty of time to mess about in the world and even make his way over to Burning Springs. That scene where he talks about having seen failed vaults may even foreshadow his own failed vault. And speaking of Vault Tek experiments, I think a lot of fans are forgetting that we're seeing one unfold right here in episode 1. Steph Harper is an undercover pre-war Vault Tek employee. She's a graduate of Bud's Buds. Yeah, she was one of those people unfrozen from Vault 31, and basically the experiment here was to unfreeze these Vault Tek employees every 30 years, and then have them become an overseer of Vault 32 or 33. We're literally seeing that happen right now. Steph just stepped up as overseer of Vault 32, and her being a secret Vault Tek employee does explain why she's getting so freaky with Chet. And it also explains why she is desperately trying to get into contact with Vault 31 and Bud. But she is a new overseer, so presumably all of this is very fresh to her. It'll be interesting to see where this continues on, but again, this is Vault 31's experiment in action. And then we have the really fun Starlight drive-in scene that is technically a retcon. New Vegas has Mojave drive-ins, but they're carrying over Starlight drive-ins from Fallout 4 for Season 2. And this one is even playing a Cooper Howard movie and something about a man and his dog. But of course, the big reveal is that just behind the Starlight drive-in is Vault 24. In the TV show, this is a home for some mind control experimentation. Seemingly, Vault Tek was trying to see if they can convert regular US citizens into communists using this new mind control device. But in Fallout New Vegas, this vault also popped up at least briefly as a piece of cut content. Technically in Fallout New Vegas, all we actually have is the Vault 24 jumpsuit. There's literally no further details, and even in the past, Josh Sawyer speculated that this might just be an extra vault suit as opposed to a full-on planned vault that was cut. But either way, Fallout has a ton of cut content, and the TV show looking to cut content for plotlines is something that I think will get almost every Fallout fan excited. I would love to see them do more of this.
In business news, West Tek stocks are up again amid reports their latest biological products will revolutionize skincare.
West Tek are the creators of super mutants in Fallout. This happened via the FEV virus, but this mention of a new skincare item makes me think that something new is going to be coming here. Super mutants in Fallout technically have multiple sources right now due to some of the past retcons that have occurred. So some fans are thinking that this might be setting up another one. West Tek is distributing some kind of skincare product across the entire US, so that will explain the presence of super mutants over the entire US. Originally, they were all just coming out of one vault, so it was hard to justify when they were particularly far away from that vault. Although at the same time, it does look like Thaddeus is turning into a centaur. This is a different byproduct of using the FEV virus, so maybe this is something new entirely. Maybe this skincare product will explain some other kind of creature we see in Season 2. Okay, so for this one, I have to be that guy. I'm quite literally just going to explain a joke that I see a bunch of people not getting. These two characters are attending a product of inbreeding support group. So these two show up in support of inbreeding. They want more inbreeding in their vault. That's why they look so confused the entire time. Everyone else is just seeking support for the consequences of the past inbreeding that was done. Towards the end of the episode, we get the real grand reveal, the thing driving a ton of the speculation right now, that Hank wasn't actually working for Vault Tek this entire time, but instead for someone else, and this could have major consequences. The most obvious answer as to who Hank is working for is House, but something about the coyness from this episode, the fact that while talking on this microphone, Hank didn't make it immediately clear that it was House, makes me think this is someone else. The Enclave is the other obvious choice, and a detail that may back this up is Hank's seeming technical ability. We already saw in season 1 how the Enclave was experimenting with all kinds of things. It seems like one of their scientists, Wilzig, actually made cold fusion in the first place, and even here, it almost looks like the exact same mind control experiments except with dogs were going on. Season 2, episode 1 almost makes a point to showcase how inept some of these Vault Tech managers are. Steph can barely work a computer and Betty is struggling to fix the water chip. Conversely, Hank is about to solve miniaturized mind control all on his own. The contrast feels notable to me somehow. And to me, the Enclave seemed like the most obvious option, with Big Mountain or Think Tank being a pretty wild theory I'm keeping in the back of my pocket. Either way, we will very likely find out more next week. Hank being a sleeper agent for somebody else could totally redefine this moment, the nuking of Shady Sands. This was seemingly done by Hank, but who was he doing it for? We assumed it was just a messed up action by Vault Tech, but if Hank wasn't actually doing it for Vault Tech, that could open up some interesting possibilities. Shady Sands was the former capital of the NCR. Maybe another local faction wanted them gone for some reason that we'll see further explored in season 2. Many people are also hoping that Cooper Howard's wife Barb could be the person he's talking to. That could honestly fit in with either the Enclave or the House theory. But do you remember this line from the Ghoul from the first trailer?
You want to know why the world ended? It started here with one man.
That confused a ton of people, because the entire premise of Fallout New Vegas, us delivering the Platinum chip as a courier to House, is because House accidentally mistimed the dates the bombs would drop. His Platinum chip delivery was occurring the day the bombs dropped. That's why we get hired to get it back over the course of Fallout New Vegas. That's just the established Fallout lore, so it would follow that, yeah, House didn't drop the bombs because he didn't even know when they were dropping. He got caught off guard also. So why is Cooper Howard saying something different here? Why does he seem to think that House did drop the bombs? Well, we actually got an answer to that in this episode. The Ghoul thinks House dropped the bombs because Moldaver literally told him that House was building a missile system, and then a few weeks to months later, a bunch of bombs dropped. So the Ghoul just kind of assumed it was House. But of course, the Ghoul is wrong here. House didn't drop the bombs, and if anything, this sets up a pretty unique exchange between these two characters whenever this scene comes into play. But either way, those were some of my major observations from episode 1 of Fallout. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. And if you are excited for more content, get subscribed. I plan to make breakdown videos like these every week, and probably even more content around the show. But even beyond that, I have a ton of Fallout mod videos also about to drop.